So I've watched Gladiator 2, an obvious sequel from the first installment of Gladiator, one of the greatest epic historical action films from the legendary director Ridley Scott, and a timeless masterpiece. Therefore, it's obvious that no one in the right mind believes such a perfect movie should have a sequel for more satisfactory. But then again, we won't have Aliens or Terminator 2, right? Thus, it has been 20 years since the last time a milestone was made in the Roman Colosseum, and now Ridley Scott himself returns for a sequel, promising a top-of-the-art epic historical blockbuster, especially in the year of 2024 when Dune Part 2 has been reigning for its massive production value. So, can Gladiator 2 meet those demands and become one of the strongest contenders for the next Academy Awards? Let's find out. Gladiator 2 takes place 2 decades after the events of Gladiator, as the Roman Empire has become a formidable force storming through all over the continents, ruled by the ruthless and tyrant twins brothers, Emperor Geta and Emperor Caracalla. The story follows a Numidian warrior named Hanno, captured into slavery after losing his country to the Roman Empire as well as losing his wife. Impressed by his fearlessness, a slave trader named Macrinus decides to buy him as a gladiator for fighting in the Roman Colosseum. On a new land, in a new culture, with a destiny ahead, Hanno slowly builds up his vengeance plot, without acknowledging his involvement in a complex political affair that eludes his understanding. It's fair to say that this movie has nothing new, especially for those who have seen the first installment. Gladiator 2 follows the same plotline, involved in an incident, losing his family, becoming a slave, impressing some rich guys, becoming a gladiator, and then making political statements in the Roman Colosseum. Of course, the movie does have a certain level of creativity regarding character backgrounds, thus making this movie somehow more personal and emotionally complex compared to the original being simply just about vengeance and loyalty. However, there are reasons why people speak so highly of the first. A simple story, a simple concept, yet timelessly valuable. Because those values were forged in great detail in each conflict on the silver screen, thus making viewers constantly on edge as the film progressed to be more intense and complex, which is what Gladiator 2 didn't accomplish as Gladiator did. If you were impressed by Maximus' journey of falling, reviving, and tragically meeting his demise, then Hanno's or Lucius' story pales in comparison. And I'm not spoiling the film here, the trailer did that himself. Throughout the entire movie, never once do I feel like Hanno is in the deepest depth of desperation and loss, and his journey to victory seems so rushed and simple at times, with the name of Maximus inevitably echoing throughout his entire journey, as if Ridley Scott himself admitted his inability to surpass his precedent. This is a major weak point of the sequel. That is, instead of developing a more compelling plotline and using elements from the original to create surprise, the sequel completely depends on the original. Thus, all new interesting key points become pale in comparison with the original, which is a timeless masterpiece. Speaking of character, Gladiator 2 completely builds a new character, just to spoil his background as the son of Maximus and Lucilla and put him right into the relationship with the Roman Empire. So, what can they do to make Hanno or Lucius impressive enough for the sequel? Not exactly much. Hanno is not an army general, not a member of a senate like Maximus, but more or less a barbarian from a cannibalistic tribe. However, the moment he sets foot in Rome, every single plotline just hits him in the most abrupt way possible, making his personality change drastically, which makes his emotional climaxes become less convincing and shallower in depth. And unlike Maximus, who has to face the tyrant Emperor Commodus, we have no idea who Hanno has to face throughout the entire movie, as he just plows through them like freaking Michael Myers. A great hero must be challenged by a great villain, and most villains in this movie are completely unworthy, making personal conflict in this installment greatly anticlimactic. In terms of acting, once again, Gladiator 2 pales in comparison with its predecessor, with Russell Crowe winning that year's Academy Award and Joaquin Phoenix claiming his own 20 years later, it's obvious that Gladiator set an impossible standards towards sequels, which is portrayed clearly in the sequel. Lead actor Paul Mescal is expected to be Maximus II, and despite nailing the fearless warrior-looking appearance as well as certain psychological conflicts, his leadership vibe seems off and stiff at times. Denzel Washington makes his mark as Macrinus, greatly portraying a con artist keen on manipulating people for his benefit. However, he can't be compared to Joaquin Phoenix as the main villain, and that's a fact. Others such as Pedro Pascal or Connie Nielsen, who's been waiting for 2 decades to make a return, but they really can't do much with a rushed and unpolished script. If the plot fails, the cinematography will make up for it, and this is the case with Gladiator in general. And what a return from Ridley Scott as he continues to satisfy his viewers with an immense world of epic historical drama. The immense landscape of naval battles and the diverse and complex formats of games inside the Colosseum, as well as the grand picture of the Roman city in the fire of social upheavals. To make this set piece as close to history as possible, Ridley Scott asked for consultants from historical researchers to ensure maximum accuracy regarding historical details. The battle set pieces and the camera movement still inherit the characteristic of the first instrument: epic, clear-cut, detailed, and overall breathtaking. And you definitely will be immersed in the roaring battle atmosphere of the Roman Colosseum in IMAX, which is funny because Dune Part 2 made a great reference to Gladiator regarding his Harkonnen era scene, and now out of nowhere, Gladiator 2 returns to claim its place. Simply put, in terms of cinematography, absolute cinema. Ridley Scott never disappoints regarding sound design in his blockbusters, as he always demonstrates the highest level of details in sound design to ensure the most immersive epic historical atmosphere for viewer. Each sound effects, ambience, fighting sounds, sword clashing, army chanting, and suspense percussion all greatly combine with the cinematography to create a colorful and dramatic world of ancient Rome. The soundtrack is tragically epic, although it's obvious that it pales compared to what Hans Zimmer achieved in the original and in Dune. But that's enough for viewers to be hooked into the intense atmosphere of Gladiator 2. To summarize, Gladiator 2 will bring you the absolute biggest spectacle of cinematic experience, especially in the IMAX format. And together with Dune Part 2 and Furiosa, they are the testaments to the undying art that is cinema. However, it definitely feels unpolished compared to the first instrument, therefore it's unsure whether or not it will be a formidable Academy Awards contender like its predecessor, especially having to face tough oppositions from the likes of Denis Villeneuve. Will the former or the latter prevail? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more interesting movie reviews in the future.